Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, we're going to get into something just a little bit different. I think I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to do it in reverse. But look, this is my first, but probably second video since I hit 1,000 subscribers. I wanted to thank all you guys, man. You guys really looked out for me. I really appreciate it. I mean, so many of you guys came through in the comments, guys sending me bottles. I mean, my friends giving me bottles to review on the channel. So I just can't thank you guys enough. I only ask one thing. If you are a new subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That way you get a video every time I release one. And if you are currently subscribed, go ahead and hit that bell notification so that you don't miss not one video. Now, this is what I want to do today. A little bit of a reverse here. So I want to get into the bourbon because I think this might be one of the most hated bourbons in the bourbon community. You either love it or you hate it. And I put several of the big boys on the table so that I wouldn't give it away by putting maybe one specific bottle or one specific distillery on the table. So this bourbon right here, man, let's look at the color first. If you can see that on camera, that's pretty light. So you might have an idea of just what bourbon this could be. It's hated. It's hated amongst most bourbon reviewers out there. We really don't care for this bourbon too much. I remember the first time I tried it, and I was early into bourbon, but I wasn't all the way into bourbon when I tried it, and I did not like it. And I'll tell you what, I have a buddy. Shout out to my man Noah, man. Watches the channel, appreciate it, man. Another one of the guys who helped me get 1,000 subscribers. He came from rum. So when he first tried this bourbon, he loved it. So I actually bought a 375 just to have on the shelf. So when he came over, he would have something to sip on because, you know, I was starting to dibble and dabble in the more higher proof stuff. So I really, at this point, really did not care for this bourbon. But then the other day, you know, I just went ahead and decided to go back to it and see, maybe am I missing something, or what can I figure out about this bourbon that requires it to still exist? And I had a couple things in mind. Let's get into the nose. It's a very light vanilla with a little bit of like an orange peel. Vanilla cream. And possibly like a white table sugar, maybe brown sugar. It's coming off a little floral today. The other day when I tried it, it did not come off floral at all. Now it's coming off a little floral. Let's get into the palate. It's got a very sharp bitterness to it almost, but then it goes away. It really doesn't have a finish. It is pretty much a light vanilla on the palate. I mean, that bitter note strikes me like lemon peel, orange peel. And it's just very light and bright on the palate. It's not much going on. I get a lot of pepper in the back. Those sharp notes, sharp bitter notes that turn into a lemon peel, slight orange peel, they start to roll into a pepper. I have to keep going back in because it hits so quick and then it just goes away. Let's go back into the nose one more time. I'm actually getting a nice, light, refreshing oak out of that thing. It's very nice and light. Back into the palate one more time. Hold up. A slight cinnamon note came through, but we'll go back into the palate one more time. A little more citrus, a little more pepper, touch vanilla, sharp notes gone. I think the reason why it's hated is because for the price that they charge for it, it is so thin. I mean, you almost have to wonder, with so many other offerings by this distillery, why this one even exists. And I started thinking about it. Maybe it exists for that reason, because a lot of things that you get in this proof, they are very sharp, very astringent. They're very young, very grainy. I do not get any grain out of this thing. For it to be only 80 proof, clue number one, it has a decent and enjoyable mouthfeel, but it is thin. And when I say decent and enjoyable, I mean for an 80 proof, because I've had some 80 proofers that are horrendous. I mean, even when I first started drinking this thing, I thought it was like warm water because I had come off of some of the other higher proof products. But when I went back to it and I stripped my palate first, I realized and started to figure out who it was for. This is a higher end 80 proofer that is meant to come off smooth, meant to come off delicate, meant to hit you with a lot of those light notes that can ease a new bourbon drinker into bourbon without drinking some of the rot gut $15, $13 stuff that's out there. Now, we all know it is some stuff out there in the teens that will absolutely kill this bourbon. But this right here, it's a more enjoyable experience than some of the cheaper, very much younger 80 proof products. I know you guys want to get into it, but let's get into a part of the breakdown first. Is this bourbon worth the chase? No, it is not worth the chase. It is 80 proof and it is $55. Clue number two. Will I give it to a new bourbon drinker? Of course, this is designed to get a new bourbon drinker into the bourbon game. Will I always have a bottle on the bar? The bottle that I have on the bar, I've had it for quite a while, and my boy Noah, he stopped drinking it, so I rarely ever, if at any time, go to it. But I did get another bottle recently of the newer edition. Time to get them on the table. Bottle drop, bottle drop, bottle I know I gave you two clues, so you should have been able to figure it out. Look, Basil Hayden, one of the most hated amongst the bourbon community for the price and for the proof. And I found out in my research that this has the same mash bill as this. Knob Creek and Basil Hayden share the same mash bill. And they share the same mash bill, so it mimics what Basil Hayden was doing at the time. Basil Hayden at the time, when he was distilling, he was adding higher rye to his bourbons to give it a distinct flavor. He wanted to bring out more of those spicy notes, more of those minty notes in his bourbon. I just hope at that point in time he wasn't having it watered down to 80 proof, because I am just not a fan. Once I stripped my palate down, I was able to appreciate some of those light vanilla notes and some of those, slightly spiky, spicy citrus notes. But after that, man, it's there and it's gone. It is not something that I want to run out and spend $55 on. Yes, it is a beautiful bottle. Yes, it gets you into bourbon. Yes, it doesn't come across to a new bourbon drinker with all of those spiky notes, and it's going to get a new bourbon drinker's foot in the door. But us experienced drinkers amongst us, I think that this is one of the most hated bottles. Please let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about Basil Hayden, because it might be very divisive. I mean, it could be that a lot more people like it than I think, but amongst the bourbon drinkers that I've talked to, we do not have a good place in our heart for Basil Hayden. So, with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you head it to a drop. Till next time.